David Brennan sits in a conference room at venture capital firm Catalyst Partners. Across from him, three investors review documents with increasingly dark expressions. His hands are shaking. One investor slides a patent filing across the table. It's dated 2 years before David's product launch. The inventor's name at the top? James Rivera, his former business partner. The man he cut out of their company. The man whose idea he claimed as his own. David's mouth goes dry. His empire is about to collapse. And he built it on sand. 2 years earlier, David Brennan is 34 years old and restless. He's been working in corporate tech sales for a decade. Good salary. Stable job. Complete and utter boredom. He lives in Austin, drives a leased BMW, dates occasionally, and feels like he's watching his life happen to someone else. He wants more. He wants to build something. He wants his name on something that matters. The problem? He's a salesman, not a builder. He can pitch. He can close. He can't create. James Rivera is different. James is 32, a software engineer with the kind of mind that sees solutions where others see problems. He works at the same tech company as David, but in product development. They meet at a company hackathon. While everyone else builds incremental improvements, James presents something revolutionary. An AI-powered workflow automation tool that learns from user behavior and optimizes business processes in real time. He calls it FlowMind. It's not just smart. It's intuitive. During his demo, it saves a sample company $40,000 in operational costs in a simulated month. The room goes quiet. Then someone starts clapping. Then everyone. David watches from the back. He doesn't see an impressive project. He sees a golden ticket. After the presentation, David approaches James at the coffee station. "That was incredible, man. Have you thought about taking this commercial?" James shrugs. "I wouldn't know where to start. I'm an engineer, not a businessman." "What if you didn't have to be?" David says. "What if you had a partner who could handle all that?" They start meeting for coffee. Then lunch. Then late-night planning sessions at James's apartment. James talks excitedly about technical possibilities. David talks about market size and revenue projections. They complement each other perfectly. James has the vision. David has the pitch. They shake hands on a 50-50 partnership. They'll build FlowMind together. Equal partners. Equal shares. Equal say. For 6 months, it's everything David dreamed of. James codes. David networks. The product takes shape. Beta testers rave about it. Early interest from investors starts pouring in. Everything is perfect. Until David realizes he doesn't need James anymore. The shift happens gradually. Or maybe it was always there, and David just stopped hiding it. It starts with small things. David begins introducing himself as CEO and founder at networking events. When people ask about his co-founder, he says, "I have a technical partner who handles the engineering side." Not a co-founder. A technical partner. James doesn't notice at first. He's too deep in the code, too focused on making FlowMind perfect. He trusts David to handle the business side. After all, they're partners. Then David meets with investors alone. "Just exploratory," he tells James. "Getting a feel for interest levels. I'll loop you in when it's serious." The meetings go well. Too well. Investors love David's pitch. They love the vision. They especially love that the CEO is so charismatic and business-focused. One investor, Patricia Chen from Catalyst Partners, is particularly interested. Over drinks, she asks David about equity structure. "It's just me," David says. The lie comes out so smoothly it surprises even him. I have contractors helping with development, but I'm the sole founder. Patricia nods approvingly. Smart. Simpler cap table. Cleaner for future rounds. That night, David lies awake thinking. James built the technology, sure. But David found the opportunity. David has the relationships. David is the face of the company. Does James really deserve half? The thought, once planted, grows roots. David starts researching. He discovers that because they never formalized their partnership, no operating agreement, no incorporation papers, just a handshake and shared Google Drive, there's no legal structure binding them together. The company doesn't technically exist yet. Neither does James's ownership. David schedules a meeting with a lawyer. He comes prepared with questions. If I incorporate under my name alone, and the intellectual property was developed while we were both employed at our previous company, what are my risks? The lawyer is blunt. If your partner can prove he created the core technology, he has a case. But if there's no documentation, no paper trail, no formal agreement, it becomes he said. What if I file for a patent under my name? Legally dubious, ethically problematic, but if the patent office approves it and your partner doesn't challenge it immediately, possession is 9/10 of the law. David files the patent 3 weeks later. He lists himself as sole inventor. He uses slightly different language to describe the technology, enough to claim it's his unique interpretation. James finds out by accident. He's doing competitive research and stumbles across the patent filing in a Google search. His name is nowhere on it. He calls David immediately. Did you file a patent for FlowMind? David's voice is casual. Yeah, had to move fast. Patent trolls are everywhere. I'm protecting our IP. Our IP. David, I'm not listed. It says you're the sole inventor. It's just paperwork. The patent attorney said it's cleaner to have one name for now. We can adjust it later. Adjust it later? This is my technology. My code. My algorithms. James. David's tone shifts. Cold now. You built some features based on concepts we discussed together. I conceived the business model. I identified the market need. This is as much mine as yours. That's not, David, we're partners. 50-50. We agreed. We talked about working together. But we never formalized anything. And honestly, I'm the one who's been making this happen. You've been coding. I've been building a company. The silence on the phone is deafening. You're cutting me out, James says quietly. I'm being realistic about contributions. I'm willing to bring you on as a contractor. 15% equity, senior engineering role. That's generous given. 15% for technology one created. Technology you built using company resources and time while employed elsewhere. Technology that wouldn't exist as a product without me. I'm offering you a piece of something real, James. Or you can walk away with nothing and try to build a competitor. Your choice. James hangs up. That night, he reviews everything. All their shared documents. Their text messages. Email chains. He has proof they discussed it as partners. But David is right about one thing. There's nothing legally binding. James considers his options. He could lawyer up. Fight this. But lawyers cost money he doesn't have. Patent disputes take years. And David has already started the company, already has investor interest, already has momentum. James feels the ground shift beneath him. Everything he built is slipping away, and there's nothing he can do about it. He sends one final email to David. What you're doing is theft. You know it. I know it. And eventually, everyone will know it. David deletes it without responding. David launches FlowMind 6 months later. Without James. He rebrands it as Streamline AI and uses modified versions of James's code, enough to avoid obvious plagiarism but close enough to work. The launch is spectacular. TechCrunch covers it. Patricia Chen's firm invests $3 million. David hires a team of engineers to maintain and improve the platform. He's on podcasts. He's keynoting conferences. He's living the founder dream. Streamline AI lands its first major client, a Fortune 500 logistics company that pays $500,000 for a year-long contract. More clients follow. Within a year, the company is valued at $25 million. David buys a house in Westlake Hills. He drives a Porsche now. He dates an Instagram influencer. His LinkedIn headline reads, CEO and founder, building the future of business intelligence. He doesn't think about James. Or when he does, he tells himself a story. James was a talented engineer who couldn't see the bigger picture. Someone needed to have the vision and the courage to execute. That someone was David. He believes it. Almost. Then the cracks start showing. Streamline AI's growth plateaus. The initial technology was impressive, but competitors are catching up. David's engineering team struggles to innovate. They can maintain what exists, but they can't recreate what James built, that intuitive learning element that made FlowMind special. Clients start complaining. The AI isn't adapting as promised. It's sophisticated, but static. One by one, contracts aren't renewed. David pushes his engineers harder. Make it smarter. Make it learn better. That was the whole value proposition. His CTO, Maria, pulls him aside. David, the core learning algorithm is sophisticated, but it's basically a black box to us. Whoever wrote this was operating on another level. We can tweak it, but fundamental improvements? We'd need to rebuild from scratch. Then rebuild it. That would take years. And cost millions we don't have with revenue declining. David starts taking meetings with new investors, trying to raise a Series B to fund development. But venture capitalists aren't stupid. They see the plateau. They see the technical limitations. One investor asks pointed questions. Your patent claims you developed this technology, but your team seems unable to improve it. Why is that? David deflects. But the investor isn't satisfied. She does due diligence. Deep due diligence. She finds James. James, it turns out, has been busy. After David cut him out, James did what he does best. He built something new. He spent a year developing an even more advanced version of his original concept. He called it AdaptFlow. But this time, James was careful. He documented everything. He filed his own patents. He got a lawyer involved from day one. And he built it with two co-founders who treated him as an equal partner. AdaptFlow launches quietly. No fanfare. No press releases. Just a superior product that starts stealing Streamline AI's clients one by one. The investor sends David a document. It's James's original patent application for FlowMind, filed 2 weeks after their final conversation. The technology descriptions are eerily similar to Streamline AI's. The timestamps prove James filed first. Below it, another document, a cease and desist letter from James's lawyer claiming patent infringement. David's lawyer reviews everything and delivers the bad news. You're exposed. Your patent will likely be invalidated. If Rivera pushes this, you could face massive damages. Plus, your investors will have claims against you for misrepresentation. What are my options? Settle. Quietly. Hope he's willing to take money instead of destroying you publicly. David reaches out to James through lawyers. He offers a settlement, $2 million and public acknowledgement. James's response is simple, no. The news breaks on a Tuesday morning. TechCrunch runs the story. Streamline AI founder accused of stealing technology from former partner. James doesn't just expose David. He tells the whole story. The partnership. The handshake agreement. The patent filed in secret. The erasure of his contributions. He has emails. He has text messages. He has testimonies from people who attended their early planning sessions. The evidence is overwhelming. Patricia Chen, David's lead investor, calls an emergency board meeting. David sits at the table he once commanded. Now he's being interrogated. Did you or did you not represent yourself as sole founder when you knew James Rivera was a co-creator? Patricia asks. The relationship was complicated. Yes or no, David? The business concept was mine. He contributed technically. That's not what your patent filing says. It claims you invented the core technology. Did you? Silence. You committed investment fraud, Patricia says. You misrepresented your IP position. You put our entire investment at risk. We're terminating you as CEO effective immediately. David tries to fight it. He threatens legal action. But his own lawyer advises him to step down quietly or face criminal fraud charges. He resigns. Streamline AI's board brings in a new CEO and settles with James for an undisclosed sum. The company limps along for another year before being acquired for parts. David's reputation is destroyed. No investor will touch him. No company will hire him. His name in tech circles becomes synonymous with theft and deception. He loses the house, the car. The influencer girlfriend ghosts him. He moves back into an apartment. He takes a job in enterprise software sales. He's 37 years old and starting over, but this time with a scarlet letter on his resume. He Googles James sometimes. James's company, AdaptFlow, raised a $15 million Series A. They're growing steadily. They're profitable. Industry publications call James one of the most innovative minds in AI workflow optimization. In one interview, a journalist asks James about David. I learned that trust is precious, James says. And that integrity isn't optional. It's foundational. David taught me to protect myself legally, and for that I'm grateful. But he also taught me what kind of founder I never want to be. The interviewer presses, Do you feel vindicated? James pauses. I feel sad. We could have built something amazing together. Instead, he chose short-term gain over long-term partnership. He didn't just steal from me. He stole his own future. David watches the interview alone in his apartment. The words cut deeper than any lawsuit ever could. Because James is right. David didn't just lose a company. He lost the ability to build anything real ever again. No one will partner with him. No one will trust him. He traded everything for nothing. 6 months after the collapse, David runs into James at a coffee shop. It's awkward. Painful. James, David says. His voice cracks. I'm sorry. What I did to you was wrong. James looks at him for a long moment. I appreciate you saying that. Does it matter? The apology. To me. A little. To your career. Not at all. James picks up his coffee. You broke something, David. And some things don't unbreak. He walks out. David stands there, holding a coffee he no longer wants. Here's the truth about stealing. You never just take from others. You steal from your own future. When David claimed James's work as his own, he didn't just commit theft. He committed self-sabotage. Because he built an empire on a foundation of lies, and everything built on lies eventually crumbles. The irony. David could have had everything legitimately. If he'd honored the partnership, if he'd shared credit, if he'd built with integrity, he'd likely be even more successful today. Because James's continued innovation would have kept streamlined AI ahead of competitors. Because a reputation for fairness attracts talent and opportunity. Because trust is the most valuable currency in business. Instead, David chose the shortcut. And shortcuts in character always take you the long way around. You know what's interesting about karma? It's not mystical. It's mechanical. When you betray people, they stop working with you. When you lie, people stop believing you. When you steal, people stop trusting you. Your network becomes a net loss. David destroyed his career the moment he filed that patent. Not because James sought revenge, but because he revealed who he really was. And people remember. Here's what we rarely discuss. The temptation David faced is universal. When you see an opportunity to take credit, to grab more than your share, to cut someone out, it's seductive. You tell yourself you deserve it. You rationalize. You minimize their contribution. But character isn't what you do when everyone's watching. It's what you do when you could get away with doing the wrong thing. David got away with it. For a while. Long enough to taste success. Short enough to lose everything. The real tragedy? James would have succeeded anyway. His talent was undeniable. But David's only path to success was through partnership. By destroying that partnership, he destroyed himself. Some lessons cost everything to learn. David paid the price. The question is, will you learn from his mistake, or repeat it? Because somewhere, right now, someone is having David's moment. They're looking at a partner's work and thinking, I could take this. Who would know? The answer: you would know. And you'd have to live with what that makes you. The choice is always yours. Choose carefully. Because in the end, integrity isn't about avoiding consequences. It's about being able to live with yourself when the lights go out. David can't. And that's a prison no lawsuit could ever build.